Are we off, yeah? Right, we're back. We've not done a video in such a long time now, since before Christmas. It's been over 8 weeks. We've calculated that since we last did a base. We're in Rotherham. This garden room is going to be 4 metres by 3 metres deep. Set of bifolds here. It's going to be clad in anthracite Hardy VL range. It's going to have AstroTurf on the roof as well, and it's going to have a recessed fuse board, which we're going to show you everything what's going on. Like I say, we've not done a video in a long time. Jenny's back. Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the base today. We're going to get the base in, we're going to insulate the base, and we're going to try and get the walls up and maybe possibly some of the roof. There is the PIR insulation for the base. It's 100mm thick, and these are the timbers if Davey comes over here and have a quick look. 4x3, as I said before, it's a wall plate that will provide the perimeter and the centre, and over there is the 4x2. Ours is true 100x50. Yours may not be when you get it. It might be 90mm, so you'll have to get your 90mm insulation instead, which will help you there if that's the case. So back to the base. We use a rod system. If you've never seen us before, right, then you need to get on our channel and start following us. We use this system all the time, apart from the new pod, which I'm going to talk about a bit later on. M24 galvanised rods. They're 1 metre long. They're in the ground. They're in about 600 deep. It's then filled with concrete. There is a square plate washer trapped, so it stops the rod driving through the concrete. There is 21 rods in this build. 5 on the front, 5 on the back, 4 on each side, and 3 down the centre. Jenny's winding down the nuts. We'll talk about what she's got in her hands in a minute. John is going to lock the nuts off when he has levelled them with this laser. It's a self-levelling laser. Spectra Precision. We've had it about 3 years and it's been brilliant all that time, apart from the charger which I left out in the rain, and so we're on batteries now. Right, what Jenna's got here.
Can you explain why it's making that noise?
Right, yeah, it's not Jen being it. What I've done, I've put it onto the screw function with the clutch on, because sometimes when it jams, it will then. It's just catching a little bit of concrete then. There you go. Look. If you put it on that screw function, right, that clutch won't work. But it'll hurt your hand when it jams. Alright, that needs a new battery. Battery's flat. Right, a guy called Ronnie made us this. You can't buy this, it's stainless steel. It's absolutely fantastic bit of engineering. We stick it in the drill and it winds down the nuts. Jen, throw us a battery on that drill, will you please? But what you have to do, if your nuts are tight together like that, if your nuts are tight, it's going to lock off and it's going to jam and they're not going to come off. So it wants a little bit of separation. We know roughly how far we're going down. And that winds it down as fast as that. Here you go. I won't put clutch on it. Yeah. Like I say, you can't buy that. Ronnie made us that. Thank you, Ronnie. I know you like to see it in use. I'd hope we'd never ever lose it, that's for sure. Anyway, so John's going to lock off the nuts together. So when you lock off 2 nuts together, it stops them both moving, which will stop any movement in the building. And what will happen then is, where'd you put the shoes, David? Over there. We will then sit our 4x3 in these steel shoes. So which one have you done, John? That far corner one? John's done the far corner one there. The shoe will sit on there, and then the 4x3 will sit in there as well. Once he's gone round and locked them all off. Right, so this is the 4x3. Like I say, it's a wall plate. It's designed for to put on your interior skin wall of your extension. Obviously the other way around rather than we've got it. It's been pressure treated as well. So she's going down, she's marking the centre of the timber with the centre of the rod, so that when we drill it, we're dead on. And the way she's doing that is she's using, again, this little device Ron has, have you done that one already? Do this one. This little device Ron has made for us. It just slots on there, lovely. You can see the guide stops it pushing, and that finds dead centre of that timber, and it's as quick and easy as that. Right, I'm going to try and return back to sort of like the beginning, where I like explain absolutely everything to you. So this is the 4x3. Jen's already gone down and she's put the centre mark on there. We've got an M24 rod. So we're going to drill a 25mm rather hole using this Bosch speed bit. Decent bit. Somebody put us onto that. We used to use a tri-flute. We used to use a DeWalt tri-flute bit, which was good, but this is better. So what we need to do is drill this hole in there. I'm going to drill it as straight as I can, yeah, or relatively straight. And I'm just going to pull my boots up. Simple reason is all these chippings are going to go in my boots. And yeah, I've got pin socks on. Right, so Again, we're using Milwaukee fuel. It's a decent bit of kit. We bought it specifically for drilling these holes. Right, so once it's through at the bottom, what I'm going to do then, can you see I've got an angle on it, Jen, yeah? I'm going to put an angle on it. The reason why is I'm trying to make that bottom hole a little bit bigger so that it will accept that rod, because if there's rods at 100% plumb all the way down slightly out, that will help us go in there. Now, I'm going to do that all the way along in a minute, right? But what I'm going to show you, let me drill 3 holes and then I can show you the 3 different types of reasons and methods of cutting out. If I put my name, we're out of game too long, that's what the problem is. Don't forget to vote for us. Yes, I'm going to go on a real campaign about that. Voting closes on maybe May or something, does it? Does anybody know when voting closes? No. But I need all your votes. Right, so I've got 3 holes there, yeah? Right, what I need now is, I'm going to stick that on there, I'm going to put it on top of that chute, and then what I need is, we're going to wind that nut down, but that nut needs to be below that timber height like that. Can you see that there? So that when we floor over, it's not going to hold the floor up, right? So there's 3 methods of doing this now. Method of choice. I want to cut that much out basically, or thereabouts. If you want to be more anal about it, David, can I have a speed square, please? You could do it all nice and neat like that and spend your time doing it like that. You won't make any money, but you'll have a nice, neat little hole. Thank you, David. And then, where were we? That one. So that's sort of what I want to cut out there. Can you see that, Jen? Yeah. That's the part I want to cut out. The thing about making videos is, we obviously slow down, write down, like Brandon stood doing now, David's pottering around, always doing something, John's got to do something, whereas we'd all be working otherwise. So some people, smart ass people, will comment and go, why is he still there doing that, why is he doing that, why is he doing that? Because we're making a video so that you guys can make one of these at home. Right, so you've got 3. Chainsaw, that is the preferred choice. I will do that in a minute. Right, a lot of people will have a circular saw. What I've done, I have set the depth of the saw to the depth of the nut like that. Can you see that? Yeah. Yeah. So what I'll do then is I picked up a flat that way. I'll go through there like that. You can see the depth of that is correct. I'll then roll it on its side. And on the side, please, Brendan. Are we good? Yeah. It's rough, it's ready, but it does exactly the job that you want it to do. It'll drop that nut, and when you wind that nut down, like I say, it's rough and ready. If you want to get your chisel out and start paring it off, then that's great as well. But that's just as good a job. Wind that down, and speed square, whatever, throw on that. Speed square, yeah, sorry. And then when we put our floor over the top of that, the nut will sit down because I'll wound it down a little bit, yeah? Obviously it's a little bit high there, but by the time I've crimped it down, it'll wind down. That's one option with circular saw. Now if you haven't got a circular saw, then you might want to get yourself a handsaw. Exactly the same option again. Has anybody got a sharp chisel? Can I have one, please? Right, so again, nearly took the foam off then. More time consuming, less energy efficient, less wages to be earned, cost you more in saws, but if you are anal, it will make you happy. Because, that'll do me. Because it will look nice when it's finished, so Brandon's still going to hold that for me so it doesn't fall off there. These are Brandon's chisels, not mine. He chose the brand, not me. Roll it all the way, please. I will. Right, don't know how sharp his chisels are. Roll it all the way, please, Brandon. see how time consuming this is now? I've already lost patience with it. Brandon, these chisels are not sharp whatsoever. Yeah, that's true. Right, that's why I don't use that. So, again, that's that option. I'm out of breath, I'm fat on the mould. Right, chainsaw, throws that little one as well. Circular saw, time. Handsaw, time, energy. Chainsaw, Davey.
Start out.
Now, I know a lot of people say that we don't have any regard for health and safety. This is the chainsaw we use for, here you go, John, for the training of the chainsaw work. Start it up, John. Right, there's your chainsaw. That is my preferred method, and I know it looks a little bit dangerous, but the reason why we do that is because we have to get the chainsaw out to cut the ends off, which I will show you in a minute. That literally takes seconds, and in my opinion, is far better than any of them. So there's your options: chainsaw, circular saw, or handsaw and chisel, whichever you prefer. So we're going to carry on now. We're going to get these down. We'll do the back. We'll do the front in exactly the same way. Did I say we've been voted for an award? I'm going to keep banging on about it. We want to win it, because we're going to have a night out and we want to end up on stage, don't we, John? We do. Back, front, side, side, middle, but we'll show you that happening as well. Right, so the front's in, the back's in, that side's in over there. So the side, what you want to do is get your back in, get your front in, and then sit your side on top. We've obviously cut it too long, and I'll show you why in a minute. Davey's going to mark up now for drilling them. We'll drill them, we'll drop them down onto the shoes, and then they will literally sit in the exact position that is here. And then what I will do, I'll either cut that off or cut that off so that this one drops down. I'll probably cut that off, to be fair. This will drop down, and then John will stick some 250 screws through there to tie that corner in. But I'll show you. In fact, if Jen goes over there now, 1 minute, David. You can see John is putting the 250mm sort of decking screws for for sleepers and stuff. Again, he's using his big 12 amp on his Milwaukee fuel. There is not a more powerful impact driver on the market, is there, John?
No.
And it doesn't really matter.
I'm changing to Makita.
He's changing to Makita because ergonomically, Makita's a lot better. But I just want to show you this now. Look, have you got the clutch on that?
Brandon, I need this.
Put the clutch on it.
Oh, that time. I don't know. Yeah, clutch should be on.
There you go. Right. The reason for the clutch, watch, there, so that it's not broke his wrist because it has got some power on, and what he'll do now, he'll hand tighten that, he'll hand tighten it with that there, look. So what he's aiming for now is, let me use that as a square edge, yeah. So he's proper wound that down now, you can see it compressing down now. So when I cut that rod off there, our floor will fly over the top of that and it won't get in the way, because what I'll do is I'll come down with the angle grinder at an angle and cut that rod off, and when we floor over that, that's all gone and concealed. You don't have to use them shoes. BAPS sell the full kit, by the way, BAPS bolts, and they deliver nationwide. Right, let's get back onto this one then. So we're going to drill it. Like I say, if you want power and speed, it's Milwaukee all the way. If you want it to feel nice in your hand with some power and some speed, it's, I've forgotten my brand. What brand have I got? Makita. Yeah. And I don't even think anybody goes DeWalt anymore. Does anybody bother with DeWalt, John? No. No. You don't see it much now, do you? Right, another thing I want to tell you about, because I know somebody's going to say it as well. Right, the reason why I don't use a Forstner bit first, I could use a Forstner bit, which will create a bigger hole in there. Throws a nut. Have you got a nut, John? Who's got Sharpie as well? Thank you. I'm not going to edit this video either. Right, so I want that nut to go down in there. So what I could do is use the Forstner bit, which will create a circular hole like that. and drill it to the depth of the nut. But if I do that, yeah, that's lovely and it's great and it looks lovely. But if I do that, I need a Forstner bit, then I need to take my Forstner bit out of my drill and put my other drill bit in. It's more time, more money, not cost effective. Chainsaw's out already. That looks beautiful. They look absolutely perfect, and you're never going to see them, and they do exactly the same job. So that is why we don't use a Forstner bit, and I have no intention of using one either, and I like to use the chainsaw as well. Right.
And
Just
first fix joinery, not second.
well, it is, John. It is first fix joinery. So you know, nobody's going to come along and go, "Oh, look at that! It's not very nice." Can I have all my safety gear before I use this chainsaw, please? Right. Put your foot on the middle. Need to open middle, David. Get the 4x2s up on Finn. 4x2s. The middle will be in before you know it. There's no shoes on there yet, look. Right, so turn that off. So you can see there, it needs to go down further, obviously it's going to marry in with that. Have you got 250 screw in your hand, John? You have. So, what we'll be looking at is either cutting that there, somebody just give me it sharp, you know. So I'll either cut that there, and cut that there, and then that will drop down, and then if I do that, that means I've got a screw through there. John's potentially going to hit that. So if I cut that there, and screw through there, then he's not going to hit that rod. So, what I'm going to do is cut that through there. Right, so John's just told me he wants to screw through that way. So what I'm going to have to do, yeah, he won't get his drill in there, you see. So I'm going to cut that off there. Then just chop this one off there. And then we'll drop that down to where it needs to go. Yep, and then John can now successfully screw that. We'll do exactly the same situation with the middle as well. We'll put the timber on top there, we'll mark it, we'll drill it. I'll cut it off there, it'll drop down, and we'll 250 screw straight through the side of there. And that'll be your base. You can see they've gone round, they're starting to lock down the nut. It's all tied in, it's all dead level. What they don't do, they won't tighten down them two nuts, just because if you get a variation in your timber here, then what you might want to do is pull that up or push that down just to get them to marry at the top, and then we'll screw through and lock them down then when they're ready for that. Yeah, he's doing the same thing there. Look, he's just going to try and pull that up, and when he's dead flush he'll screw it, and then Brennan will go around and lock down the nuts with the bar, which was made by Ronnie, of course. I don't know what we'll do if we lost that. It'd be gutted, wouldn't we?
One idiot messed that one up. Look.
You can see what he's done there. Look, he's not thought about what he's done at all.
I think it's hitting that though as well.
But of course, he'll have to take that back out. Too much power in inexperienced hands, that's what the problem is.
12 amps, you see. Too powerful for me.
Right. Yeah, so there's your 4x3s. I've gone round, I have cut all the rods down, yeah, so we're below floor level there, so that's not a problem. Our floor will glide over that nice. So what they're treated, and these are treated, they're 4x2s. That will allow us to put 400, not allow us to put 400 at all. It'll allow us to put a 100mm piece of PIR insulation in, which I've already pre-cut over there. We do a 400 bay. The reason, okay, that's only 400. The reason why it's 400 is because the sheet's 1200, so you get an economical cut out of it rather than the 400 centre, which would leave you a little bit. With joist hangers, that's what we used to fix them with. The reason why that one's set there is so that them joist hangers don't collide with them joist hangers. So this one's set at 400 and off Brandon goes. Davy's dropped that one in at 200 there, and then off he goes. So every single one will miss each one. We've used the joist hangers there, and we've used twist nails as well. That's a twist nail there. Can you see the twist on it, Jen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're for the joist hangers, twist nails. What we will do, I'll show you in a minute. We'll nail them to there like that. There's 2 nails on the underside as well. We'll nail them there. They'll all get nailed there wherever they can, and then we'll just put one on each side just to hold it down out of the way of the insulation. And then what we'll do then, they'll go around when they put it down and make sure that that's as flat as possible. Yeah, it's not completely flat, but it's certainly not going to affect anything. You've got the head of the nail, obviously, but what you want to do is make sure that these, I'm going to show you them in a minute, but make sure that they're as flat as possible, because when that board goes down there, you want the board to be nice and flat. So we'll put a joist hanger on here. We've got like a little recess on there, but what you want is you want that flat part in line with that. Can you see that there? And there's that little recess there. So that's actually where you want it to sit. So I'm just going to hold it there. Yeah. I have contemplated, that's pulled back a fraction, but it's not end it well. I have contemplated buying a PPN nailer, but because Paslode have still got the monopoly on the nails, and they're real expensive, so I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit because it's just not cost effective, and it don't take that long to nail them up anyway at this moment in time. If you've watched me before giving away Paslode, I've kind of got a love-hate relationship with them. I like the stuff when it works, and that's why they're not too happy with me. Right, Brandon, that's your next one there. I've not put that on there. I just want to show you then. So what he'll do, he'll measure 400 and stick it in, but these joist hangers, they're too big. You've got that little nip on it there like that. Now what these prefer to do is cut it like that with the nips. Yeah, bend it over and flatten it like that. Put it on, Brandon, and don't leave, don't, just get it on, but leave one end up hanging up for me, yeah? Yeah. Right, so what we'll do then is, same again. Yeah, same again, please, yeah, just one side up though, yeah? So I'll nail every available hole. It's pointless nailing there on corner, pointless nailing there on corner. And then I'll just bend it over like that. And it just wants one nail in there, like that. Right, so that's it with your tin snips, but again, it's another tool out and stuff like that. And sometimes they'll use a grinder if the little grinder's out. But Jen come across this, to be fair. And I had an ox hammer with a straight claw. And what you can do, it's just, can you see that there? Look, it's just ripped it and then spray it over, and that's as flat as that. And it saves getting another tool out of your toolkit, or buying one if you don't have one. Or there's another option which I will show you in a second once somebody's got another joist hanger on. Again, it don't take that long, do you know what I mean? Right, so before we used to, John, how did we start off doing this? Did we braid them over flat first, and then you got onto the tin snips, and then we did the little grinder, and then we used the straight claw hammer? Was that the sort of evolution of it all? Braiding them flat? 'Cause I remember we used to braid them flat at one point.
Yeah, so it was something like that.
Right, so I think, like I said, the evolution of it was we braided them flat, we decided there was a little lump, then we used tin snips or a grinder, and then hit on the idea, well I didn't, Jen did hit on the idea of the claw hammer, but this is how we used to. So I'd hold it over like that and just spray it into submission like that, because it will go. But then what you're left with then, because it hasn't split, you can see now that the other side, when I do that, the joist hangers will probably cross each other. This is how we used to do it. That one's split, but let's pretend it hasn't. Come on, you bugger. There. So let's say it went across there like that. So what we had then, we had a little nip there, which was like insulation. We'd end up forming that and stuff like that. But luckily enough, that one's split. So you can't actually braid them if you haven't got a straight clawed hammer. I think you can do it with a... Can you do it with the curl cord hammer?
Harder.
It's harder, isn't it? But that's your joist hangers on. I'll explain these in a second. I'll just do this before I forget, because I will forget. Don't forget, right, if you've not entered the raffle for the pod, it's £2 a go. And it's £20,000 cash alternative, which is a massive amount of money. It's a pod. It's the prototype of something we will be definitely going forward with, and it's fully movable as well. It's 3.5 by 2.5. It's fully loaded. It's got underfloor heating. It's got a range of LED lights for lots of different types of moods. It's designed as an office, but could be used as an overnight sleepover place. It's certainly big enough for that. Right, Davey's put these in. The reason why he's put these in, Davey, will you throw me a sheet of insulation, please? The reason why he's put them in like that, let's have a look at this one here. Right, so the boards are 1200 wide, yeah? They're 2.4 long. So at 2.4 you get 6 pieces, is that right? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. You get 6 pieces out of it, which is economical, yeah? So what we want now, we don't want that insulation to fall down that gap. So what Davey's done now, just give it, John, just tap that to me a touch, will you please? Yeah, thank you. So he's put that, and what he's done is spiked a nail. Now, spiking a nail means, can I have that pencil, Jen? So let's say that's the nail. It will go through at that angle, which means it'll go through that timber, go through that. I can probably feel it sticking out the bottom there. No, it's used 63s. So that will hold the insulation. So feasibly, you can walk on that. We don't advise it, but you can walk on that later when it stops the insulation dropping down. So what will happen, this building will swell, it will shrink, it will swell, it will shrink, and it will move over the seasons. And these will move a little bit. So what will happen now, that insulation will stay and it won't end up dropping down on the floor. And because they're 1200, he's put a batten there, he's put a batten there, and he's also put a batten there. I've told him to put that there. He probably should have put it more central there, but I've told him to do that. But what will happen is, because that's a 100mm piece of insulation, it can't physically tilt down because we'll cut that, it'll sit in there tight. It won't push down because of that, but it won't be able to flip either because you've got 100mm which will be pushing on there and pushing on there. So that's it. That will be your base. We're going to get all this insulated, we're going to get all these joists in, get all these slate lats in, and then we're going to get the Aga 22mm out, but we'll show you that as well, and we'll get the base down, polyurethane glue it, and hopefully get some walls down. But as I said before, filming takes time. Filming takes time. So you can, this is the middle there, there's no support on it. Filming takes time, which slows us down quite a lot. So bear that in mind when you leave your smart ass comments and stuff like that. That if we weren't filming and helping you guys go out and build your own, then we would be doing a lot, and I'd be earning a lot more money than I actually do. Won't be skint. But that's it. And I wouldn't need a sub, John, no, that's right, innit? Cash my gyro. But that's it. So we're going to carry on with that. I've cut the insulation, we'll get it all boarded. If we have any gaps, which I'm hoping we won't, we will go around with expanding foam and fill them. And you want to watch out for your tools because you're going to end up leaving them underneath that hammer as well. You don't want to lose them and leave them under there because they'll never be found. You can if you want, and it doesn't make a difference. You can put a mesh, a rodent mesh round, but if they want to get in, they're going to get in out there. Do you know what I mean? So that's it. Yeah, the floor's in now, so we've used 4x3 for the perimeter. It's treated, it's sat on the rods and the shoes, and it's bolted down. It was levelled, of course, with the laser level. They've put the 4x2s in. They're also treated as well. So you can see under there now, there's more than enough airflow over there. Let's just explain the 2.5 height rule to you a little bit. The reason why it's high at this point there, yeah, is over at that point over there, it's as close to the ground as we can possibly get it. So to exaggerate it, that's our ground like that, to exaggerate it, and that is our base like that. Yeah, so we've gone as tight as we can to the ground there, which means when we construct it and we put our roof on, we will have the golden 2,450, what do we have, 58 approximately, which will be just slight short of 2,500, which is the maximum permitted development for this kind of structure. Right, so that's it. That's why it's high there. That's why it's low over there. The ground's tilted, even though it doesn't look it. It is. We've done it with laser. Right, flooring. This is 22mm Aga Protect. It's got a coating on both sides. You can leave this out for 6 weeks, they recommend, in all kinds of weathers, which we often do, rain or shine or snow. It's 22mm thick. We're going to cut it with a circular saw. I've said this loads of times before. You need to set the depth of your saw so it's just going past the depth of the board. Yeah, if you put your fingers under, all you're going to do is score your fingers. You still have to go to hospital, but you still have all your fingers, and it will provide less wear on the battery and the blade. Right, set your saw blade and then you're not going to lose your fingertips. Okay, right, we are going to screw it down with 60mm screws. They're from Tool Station. Not a bad little screw, to be fair. They don't often snap. 60mm. We don't nail it because we don't want a squeaky floor, and our floors never squeak, and that's where we screw them. We'll screw them on every 400. We tend to use them just because they're cheap, but we buy the expensive ones and they don't work either. Whatever you buy is crap. We're going to use polyurethane glue. That's 30-minute glue. They tend not to have the 5-minute one so often, and Tool Station, you Robin Sods have put the price right up. It used to be £13 a bottle, it's now £20 a bottle, and I'm sure it's not simply because Everbuild have decided to put the price up. Anyway, so what we're going to do, I'll put the first board down, we'll go along, and then, if I can find my Sharpie, what I'll do, we'll go along and we'll mark it like that, because when, we'll mark it like that, because when that next board goes in, we won't be able to see that anymore. What we'll do, we'll screw down the front like that, and we'll also screw, we'll go 1, 2, 3. So if you can see that timber there, yeah, but we won't put that one in, because if we put that one in, we're going to struggle to get that board in. We'll put that one in when that board is in, and we'll go screw, screw, 1, 2, 3, screw, screw, 1, 2, 3. Okay, right, so that's it. John's going to cut, I'm going to glue and fix, Brandon's going to screw, and what are you doing, Davey?
What do you want me to do?
Davy's, I don't know, Davy's going to screw as well, like Davy, yeah?
Filming, you want me to cut there?
No, John, cut over there. Yeah. All right.
I'll just use them boards for you.
Yeah, cut that one. Well, we found the lump hammer now.
Alpha.
Right, we've got a little problem. So we're putting the floor down, we've got the expanding foam glue coming up, and what's happened is the glue comes up as it normally would, and we won't be bothered about it, but this particular customer has got a patio which is either porcelain or ceramic, I'm not quite sure which, and we don't want to get polyurethane glue on there. So the idea was to tape the joints. Now, two problems there. Tape the joints, the glue isn't going off because it's now sealed in again, but it stopped anybody walking on it and walking in there, and it's also wanting to squeeze out now because it's trying to expand, it's trying to settle. But you can see, let me see there, look, it's still wet, look, can you see me pushing it? See, look. Yeah, so the glue's still wet, it's not going off, which is a massive problem for us, obviously, but it's only 12:30 and we need to carry on. So what we're going to do, we're going to get some breathable membrane. We're going to lay it over the floor, and we're going to staple it down to the floor, and that's so that we don't want glue on the patio, basically. And what we're going to have to do then is when we've built those walls and we're ready to go, one person's going to come in here and strip the lot off again so the glue can go off, and tomorrow we'll be all good again. That's the plan anyway, because replacing that is not an option for us really, is it? Right, so issue with the tape, the glue's not going off. We put the membrane over, obviously, to try and stop the glue from going on the patio. In fact, that's what will happen. Right, here's the building. What we like to do is give the customer generally the internal measurement rather than the external measurement. So this particular building is 4 metres by 3 metres. There'll be a set of bifold doors that will all travel in that direction. Right, what we'll do, we'll put the base down, yeah? So what we've approximately got, I think, what have I just shouted to you there, John?
4,350.
Right, so our back wall is 4,350 long. From that point there to that point there. So what Jen's going to do now, she's going to cut that 4x2 CLS at 4,350, then mark it up at 400 centres, and we'll put in our studs there. So what we'll do, we'll put the back wall on first, which will go like that. We'll OSB that, put a piece of OSB on there, and we'll probably membrane it. Oh no, we haven't got enough membrane today because I've used it for everything else. And then what we'll do then, we will probably set our front wall back the thickness of 5x2, and then we'll put our side wall in, and this OSB here will hang over and go down there and be fixed into that point there. And then we'll put our front wall over. I think that's where we're going to do it, or we may put the side walls right up to the front like that. Not sure yet, I haven't decided, and I still haven't got the steel. But we'll do the back wall first. I'll show you how to square that. We'll get that stood up. And because your base is level, let's say that's your base there, yeah? Because that's perfectly level on your rod system, which is millimetre perfect, that's perfectly level. When you build that back wall, as long as you build it square and not rhombus or trapezium, what's the difference? Can't remember. As long as you build it square, when that stands on there, because that is level and that is a right angle, then that means that there will be plumb as well, because that right angle is sat on that level base. And then when we put our side on like that, because again our base is level and that wall is plumb and this wall is square and that's a right angle, so that means when them 2 points come together like that, then that means that wall will be perfectly plumb because your base is level. And that's it. So the cutting the tops and the bottom, the head and the base rather. Now if you look at stud drawings on the internet, you'll want a double header, so you'll have your base plate like that, you'll have your studs, yeah, and then you'll have a double header. Now it's a garden room, yeah, we're limited on height. There is no need whatsoever for a double header. By the time we put this OSB in, you've got more than enough strength. Do away with the double header, you've got more of a thermal break, less thermal break then, because you've got more timber wheels, you're going to have more insulation rather than timber in there, if that makes sense. I've not really explained that really well, but you don't need a double header basically. It's a garden room at the end of the day. And we're not on the building control, so that's all good. So what they're going to do now, they'll set these out at 400 centres and they're going to nail, John, what are you using? Nail Paslode or?
Milwaukee.
John's going to use a Milwaukee. David, what are you going to use? David's going to use Paslode. We'll talk about Paslode, we'll talk about the Milwaukee, we'll talk about the nails as well, and I'm going to film and narrate. Right, nail guns, first fix nail guns. First fix nail guns will fire a nail within 50mm to 90mm, generally what we've got anyway. We use smooth nails. The reason why we use smooth nails is the Paslode will not sink an aftermarket ring cut 90mm nail. Go on, you're fine. Yeah? Whereas the Milwaukee will sink a ring cut nail. So we use smooth, that's why we use smooth. The Milwaukee generally does not miss a beat. It's gasless, it works in any temperature whatsoever. So there you go, look, it sinks them, it's relentless, it keeps on going, a little bit like myself. Right, so that's the Milwaukee. John prefers the Milwaukee. It's heavy though, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's heavy. It's got a 5 amp battery on there. You could probably drop down to 2 amp and keep changing it. You can also get an extended magazine for it as well. I don't like it simply because it's too heavy. David is using the Paslode IM 350 Plus. Have you finished, David? Yeah. Right. Let's talk. Are we all finished? No, right. Let's talk about the 350 Plus. Right. Again, it will fire the smooth nails. Yeah. It will fire them in, no problem. It won't fire the ring cuts in. It's February. First week in February, it's relatively mild today. So the gas is working fine, but when it gets cold, the gas does not work in these. Now, I had a little bit of a Instagram thing with Paslode at one point, and they brought out a new 350, right? The new 350's got a new grip on, woo, great. They've also adjusted the battery. You see, that's tight, can't do that with one hand, but on the new 350, which I gave away 2 of at Christmas, you can do it, so they've adjusted that. I can't remember what else they've done as well, but it's not really that good. Right, the light's there. Why have they put the light there? The light is consistently under your hand. The indicator light tells you the battery's flat or the gas has run out. Yeah, it's under your hat. I said to Paslode, and remember I said this, I said to Paslode, why don't you put the indicator on the back where you're constantly looking at it? Right, I also said, why don't they harvest the power from there and keep the gas warm, or we would sacrifice a bit of battery time for some kind of thermal blanket in there to keep the gas warm. Secondly, about the gas, why are we throwing away the gas bottles? Why aren't we bringing them to a main dealer and refilling them, which makes perfect sense in this day and age? Yeah, so I've mentioned all that to Paslode and never heard nothing back from them, but we'll see if they implement that in their future guns. You're off, yeah? Right. OSB, it's 11mm. This will provide rigidity to our building. It will also square the building up for us. Now, the sheet is square. Yeah? It's got a right angle. It's got a right angle. it's got a right angle, and yes, it's got a fourth right angle, right? So if we build our walls and use the right angles to make our walls square, then as I said before, when our walls are square and they sit on our level base, they will sit lovely. Now, the problem with these boards is sometimes they come at 1200, sometimes they come at 4 foot. These particular ones have come slightly more than 4 foot, yeah? So what I've done, I've marked them at 1200, I've set a gauge on there, I've also adjusted my depth of my blade, yeah? Don't want that too deep, don't lose my fingers, need my fingers. Right, so I'm going to now take that distance off there. What have I done, Jen?
You're not set deep enough.
I set me down. I was too panicky about losing my fingers because I need my fingers. Don't I? You do. Right. Have you found it? Take 3. Right, I'm going to save that there. What I want to do now is, their frame, they're going to start on the closest side to us. So that right angle there will where they will start nailing. Does that make sense, yeah? What I'm going to do, I'm going to mark on this board for them 400 centres, so that when they put this board on, there's nothing worse than dragging your finger down a roughly cut bit of OSB. Horrible, right? Whoop. So that's a 400 there. When they put that board on now, what's middle of bottom plate, please? Is it 2035? Right, so they'll know where to nail there. Obviously, when I'm not videoing, I'll do these. I'll fire them over and they'll be ready for them. Yeah? The 2035, right? The 2035 is the centre of their bottom plate. Again, so they know where to nail. I'm not going to cut that off. I'm going to cut that off afterwards because it's a lot easier to cut a lot off in one go. So that's their board. Yeah, David. That's the top there, top corner. Yeah, so what will be happening now, they'll go over and nail that. I'll mark up this next board, cut it, and they'll be going over like that, but obviously I'm trying to film and show you, so it takes a little bit more time. So if Jen comes over here, she'll see. They have now switched from 90mm nails to 63mm nails. It's not, he's right. So let's imagine that building. Is it a rhombus or a trapezium? What's that? What's that? Rhombus. So let's imagine the wall. 1 minute, John. Let's imagine the wall. Is that a rhombus or a trapezium, John? I don't know.
It's a rhombus.
Rhombus. Let's imagine the wall is a rhombus. This will now make the wall a right angle. Right, so they'll get top corner. They're using 63mm ring cut nails. John, will you just show 63mm? There you go. You can see the ring cuts on there. Right, so what he's done, he's put one in the corner there. What he'll do now, he'll go down the length. Yeah, and he'll get the leg. You see there, look? Yeah? Are we flush? Can you check it's flush? Yeah? And what he'll do, he'll fix that board down there to that timber frame. David, don't nail that. I want to see if it... Is it out? Make it out. Make it out.
Make the board on.
Yeah, make the wall out so I can adjust it, please. And then we'll go up to the front. Right, so the board is square. You can see there, look. Can you see that, Jen? Look. There's about 5mm of wood hanging over there, which means the frame is rhombus shaped. So what they'll do now is pull that frame so it's in line with that. Can you see that? Yeah. So it's in line with that. When they nail that, that will mean that corner is a right angle. They'll go along and do exactly the same thing with sheet after sheet after sheet. And that will mean that that wall is a rectangle. And when that wall stands up on this back level floor, it will be plumb. And that's how it works. Here, that was the 2035 line I did. So what they'll do now, they'll nail there, and that will go through the centre. That nail there, look. It will go through the centre of that bottom plate. We will mark that and cut that off at approximately that height. John, it's 4 inches below, isn't it? It's about 100mm below that. So that OSB will then hang over the shoe.
That's what we're checking for there, make sure.
Yeah, they're just checking just to make sure that no stray nails have come out, because obviously that's going to sit on the floor, and if there's a nail sticking out, it will hold the floor, the wall up and prevent it from sitting level. Right, let's pull that. Right, So the back is going to be metal clad. We're going to use some resilient bar, but I'll show you that later on in the week when we put that on. We haven't got it on site. So what we've done, we've marked up where the centres are of the timbers. If Jen comes to this side, we just literally got a length of timber. We've held it on and we've dropped the Sharpie all the way down. So when we do come to put our resilient bar on, we'll be able to screw through the OSB into the stud. Right, if Jen looks under there, she will see a 4-inch overhang, which will hang over the back, which will cover the shoes as well. And she's going to have a look there. Can you see any nails sticking out? What we don't want is any nails sticking down because they will hold the wall up. So if John just slides it a little bit to me. Yeah, you've gone way too far, Brandon. What you don't want is your wall to drop off at the back because it's heavy and you're going to struggle to get it back up. Pull it more to you, Brandon. A bit more. No, yeah. Right, that should be enough there. So when they stand that up there, you go there, you should see that OSB drop down there now and hopefully the wall not drop off the back. Can you get it up a little bit, John?
Yeah.
No, not far enough, Brendan. I can see your floor.
Watch it, the bottom sticking out.
Are you off, Brendan?
Yeah, go on, I'll pull it. I want to rock down.
Right, so what happened now is, this wall, when I measured the base plate, I cut it a couple, just going to jump over there. I cut it a couple of mil too big, so if I get mine like that now, what are you, Brendan, hanging over a couple of mil, what are you doing?
Yeah, about 2-3 mils.
John, just stand wall up. Right, if Jen just looks there, look. So you can see our base timber, we've got our chipboard flooring, we've got the base plate and we've got the OSB which hangs down over the shoe. Any water that does manage to get down the back of the building will hit the breathable membrane. I mean, you're not going to get any anyway, and it will run down and go on the floor. So what they're going to do now is, I'm pulled in tight there. You pulled in tight, Brandon? Yeah, so we're pulled in tight. What I'll do, Davey will put a screw in that end, he'll then go to the other end. He'll then go to the other end there. I'm going to eye down it because sometimes, see if you can get right down that length there, maybe a bit more like. It's hard to see because cameras try to focus on there. But basically I'm looking down to see if there's a bend in there, which there isn't, Davey, so you can go along. What he'll do now, it's hard to see, isn't it? He's going to put a screw in every single bay which will hold the wall down. We're then going to swap the nail guns over to the 90s. And then what we'll do, we'll just nail it. And we're just going to go down and nail the lot down there like that. All the way down. We'll drive the rest in with a hammer that hasn't sunk down. That's the PAS load for you.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why he's screwing each bay first is the screw will pull the wall down to the floor, whereas the nail won't. So he'll screw it first. I don't know if you'll see it. Yeah, you could, yeah. So it's pulled it down and then the nail will do its work and hold it in place. As I've showed you before, the screws have got... The screws themselves... Can I have a hammer, John? There you go, carry on, David. There you go. The screws themselves, like, they'll snap quite easily, whereas the nails won't. They'll just bend rather than snap. So the screws used to pull it down and the nails used to actually fix it. Right, so as I said before, if your floor is level and your wall is square, as per technical drawing there, then when your wall sits on your floor, because this is a rectangle and that floor is level, you put your level on there and it will be plumb. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Right, so it's as easy as that. You don't really, like, once you've got your floor in level, as long as you build square, you won't really use your level so much. This wall, we're going to do this wall next actually. So this wall will be a rectangle as well. It'll push up to that and it will, because it's square when it's in its right position, when we fix that wall to this wall, it will then be a square corner and it will be plumb and we'll be all good, and then we'll jump on that wall as well. Again, we've marked up the 400 centres. Sometimes we'll slate band it, sometimes we won't. So they're going to lift it up now and get it into position. I'm just going to show you how it locks in.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that's it now. Yeah.
So what should happen now is that should slide up to that, and then that should lock into there. There, like that. So what we've done, we've cut that OSB shy a little bit, just in case that one wasn't hanging over. We'll cut that shy, so then that frame there will fix into that, and then that OSB will fix into that, which will tie all the corner in.
Scotland.
Yeah, so we've got the base in, we concreted the rods in yesterday, we levelled the nuts, we put the 4B3 in, we put the 4B2 in, we put the 100mm PIR, 22mm Aga Protect, then we built this back wall first, we've clad it with 11mm OSB, and we built the two side walls, which have all tied in, and I showed you the level floor, the rectangle creates a plumb wall. We put two braces in there, obviously because we've got no front wall as of yet. John's gone to get the steel for the above the doors. So tomorrow, there's no reason why we shouldn't have this roof boarded, Jen, is there?
No reason at all.
No, and yeah, Jen, we'll have the roof boarded, and we'll get some kind of protection on it. Stand there, please. Oh, she's back. Would you like to say hello?
Hello. How are you?
So she's back. So that's today. Tomorrow will be another day, and hopefully we'll get the roof on, and we'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, we've been nominated for most charitable business in the Yorkshire. What is it? Yorkshire Choice Awards.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal for us, and I'd love to win it. So go in the description, hit the link, get on there and nominate, because we all want a night out, because I think we deserve one as well. And we're all going to get suited and booted, so it should be a good show. Thank you, and watch us tomorrow. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.